Hello and welcome to the Scrambled Checksum podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Kieran, a guy who embraced the jank to such an extent that it spilled over into my real life, and now I'm this weird-looking animated character on the screen in front of you. And I'm joined by my esteemed co-host, Ethan, a guy who's recently becoming to adopt... Oh, fucking hell. A guy who's recently started to adopt the jank to such an extent that he's injured himself several times on his projects. Ethan, what do you think the jankiest thing you've done of late is that you haven't already talked about?
Wow.
Apart from starting this podcast.
Well, I first need to congratulate you on fucking up that intro even better than I could have.
On janking up my own intro to such an extent after I talked about it spilling into my regular life.
Yeah.
I then did the intro in such a janky way that no one could ever possibly get whatever point I had from it.
And unfortunately, even me saying that has not stalled for enough time for me to think of an answer to your question. So, I mean, well, if you're going off the document that we have that's called topic docs.
Well, I was actually waiting for you to say your jankiest thing you've done recently, so I could then.
Oh right, I thought you were hinting at the jank topic that
it was, but I was going to segue into that.
Yet. I haven't done that.
I was going to segue into that with a segue I haven't, thought of. So my jankiest thing that I've not yet done, but I will be doing soon, is I have a situation to try and rectify for my partner that's going to require a build of some kind. I'll hopefully be able to report back on at the next episode.
Okay. Oh wow.
Hopefully.
So you're building it in the next week then, because
I'm building it tomorrow.
Holy
as we sit here.
Crap.
Well, I'm hopefully building it tomorrow. I actually don't quite know how it's going to work just yet. I've not fully, thought of ways to make it janky. But the scenario is, I need to build something to protect some birds from some local cats on my partner's garden shed. So,
all right.
Birds land on top of the garden shed to eat the seed.
Yeah.
But there's some new cats that are about to become outdoor cats locally that we need to protect the birds from, because at the minute they can jump up onto a fence and jump onto the shed.
I see.
So yeah, we need a cat-proof barrier.
Wow.
on the edges of the shed.
What a noble cause.
But it's surprisingly challenging, right? Because you think like how agile cats are.
Yeah. What kind of roof does this shed have? Is it kind of
like the shed's got what I think is called a pitched roof.
Okay.
So like it's at an angle, like slightly.
Oh, so but it's only one angle. It's not like a.
It's only one angle. Yeah. It's not the I don't know, the triangle roof. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's like a sloped roof, and there's a fence adjacent. So the cats walk along the fence, and they can just step onto the shed roof. So I need something to block them from that. So I'm thinking some kind of mesh situation. But making it cat-proof is really hard. Because, I was thinking about last night, and they're so agile. Like, they can jump really high. They can
climb things as well, can't they?
They can climb.
Little claws. They hook into your legs when you try to tickle them and stuff like that.
Yeah, they can climb really well. They can jump really high. They can squash themselves down really flat as well, can't they? To squeeze under things.
You could. What if you electrified the mesh?
This is the thing. I don't want to hurt the cats.
I do.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. That's horrible.
I'm joking.
No, you kid, of course.
I joke.
Yeah. No, I just want to prevent them getting on this shed roof.
It's just because I'm just saying that because my dog's behind me at the moment and he hates cats.
Oh, okay. You just,
Yeah, I've got to appease him.
Yeah, you're posing.
He doesn't give a shit. He's asleep.
Yeah, he's not bothered. So I need to. So I don't want to use a sonic repelling thing. 'Cause first of all, I don't think they work, and second of all, I don't want to irritate them.
Can you still hear those, by the way?
I can.
That's good. That's good going.
I didn't go to a lot of concerts. So, I think that's kind of protected my hearing to the extent that I can still hear the sonic things, but I don't want to put one of them in.
Yeah, they're so annoying, aren't they? I can
they're
still
really
hear them
annoying.
as well, and
like the teenager ones, right? And it's God, stop being such a square. Just let teens gather on your front porch, whatever. Who cares?
So we're not. What you're saying is you're not ready to make a Tom Scott-esque really
Sad video.
sad kind of like
reflective.
depressing, dystopian. I can't hear the CRTs anymore.
It's because I could still hear the CRTs. God, I went to the Cambridge Computing Museum for my birthday last year.
Yeah.
And I could very much hear the CRTs.
God,
Actually,
so
was kind of jealous
annoying.
of Tom Scott.
God, like, is it just because they're old, by the way, that they make that noise? Or
I think it gets worse because when they're old.
So they always made that noise.
They always made the noise because I remember being
Jesus.
a child and hearing the CRT noise, but it was nowhere near it. It wasn't that like loud.
Yeah.
But they've always made the noise. But I think it's the coil. It's either the coils or the capacitors. It's a scrambled checksum, so I'm not going to check which one of those it is.
I'm sure it's something in the TV.
Yeah, I think it's either the coils or the capacitors. I think that whine. But yeah, it gets worse with age, I think, and louder.
Yeah.
But yeah, those ones were particularly loud. But yeah, so I got to build something for the. So it's going to be janky because I'm making it, and everything I make is janky. Especially like practical projects like that.
Yeah, I don't really know how you would achieve that without just making it like impractically tall.
Well, that's the thing. One of my earlier ideas was that instead of feeding the birds on the shed roof, we build some kind of a wholly separate platform, which is a pretty big undertaking, right?
Yeah.
Like a really tall, like large bird feeder, bird table, basically.
Could you build some kind of early warning system for the birds? So that instead, rather than stopping the cats getting there, just like have something that like as soon as it detects a cat, it just makes a noise that scares the birds off. So by the time the cat gets there, there's like
no birds left.
No birds.
I don't know. That feels like their own. I think don't birds have their own like early warning system? Like they're pretty. They keep a pretty good eye
like an
out.
air
right?
raid siren. Like
so how would that only detect cats?
I don't know.
So it's like you walk outside to feed the birds and it detects your movement or something with like a PIR
okay, you
sensor,
get you need some cameras, yeah, and then a machine learning algorithm you train it on a load of different pictures of cats. There's plenty on the internet, and then it visually sees the cat and then sets off the
I mean,
bird
that sounds great if Shane from Stuff Made Here is coming over to make that for me.
I'm sure he will. He's not got much else going on.
I think what he would do is he would attach the retroreflectors to the cat's collars, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And then that would actually be a really good way to do it. You have like retroreflectors on the cat's collars.
Or could you have something that like you put bells on the fence.
Oh, so like
when the cat jumps onto the fence, it makes a noise like.
I don't know. A bell would startle a bird though.
Or maybe some kind of way of detecting the cat jumping onto the fence.
And then a klaxon.
Yeah, like a big old foghorn. That totally wouldn't annoy the neighbours or anything. That's it. Yeah.
Or like a bad club DJ's air horn sound. Yeah, exactly that.
Just in case no one can imagine what that sounds like.
No, that was a good rendition. I think Shane from Stuff Made Here though, if he would come over, he'd put retroreflectors on the cat's collars. He'd have those cameras that he uses, the really expensive setup.
Yeah, although he used to use Xbox Connect cameras, didn't he?
He did
for a while, but he stopped using them for some reason.
Yeah, I think because he got the expensive ones and the Xbox ones were a pile of crap compared to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we could get that. He could
use an iPhone. They've got like time of flight cameras and
I think
like
the expensive ones might even be cheaper than an iPhone with the amount that you'd need.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know how much those.
You could buy like a cheap like smash screen iPhone because you don't need this.
That's true because I only need the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as Shane's writing the software, I mean, I'm not really bothered then.
Shane, hit us up.
Yeah, Stuff Made Here. We're big fans, huge fans actually.
Yeah, I love that one that you did where you made the robot do jigsaws. I was slightly disappointed with that episode actually, but it was cool still.
Ethan thinks he could have done a better job actually.
Well, no, I don't think I could have done a better job. It's just he kind of cheated on the whole piece sorting thing in the end because it was too complicated to get working.
Ethan thinks he could have solved that piece sorting a lot better and had it.
I think Shane could have solved it a bit better if he didn't want to get the video out ever.
I think if he'd have dedicated the next 10 years of his life to solving that piece orientation problem,
which would totally have been worth it.
Yeah, and also on the size of puzzle that he was doing.
You know what, Shane? If you're not available, I'm sure you must be buddies with like Simone Gietz or something. Like, send her over. I'm so sure.
Yeah, that would work too, because it'll probably be kind of janky then. She'd have it a bit more whimsical.
I feel like her. Yeah, I think her level of jank is more like our kind of level of.
I think you're giving us too much credit. I think her level of jank, the project still does what it's supposed to do.
Well, that is true. Yeah.
It's more whimsical, I would say, than janky.
I really want one of her. Did you ever see that approving father?
I'm proud of you, son.
Yeah. You put like a quarter in it, and then it like pats you on the shoulder.
I really liked that. That was a really nice video, actually.
Yeah, I fucking loved that. That was like that. I think that was probably when I first saw that.
I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say
hard.
her. I think it's a calendar or like a to-do list thing, and it's got like one light.
Oh yeah.
That's like really cool.
Yeah, I nearly bought that actually, but
isn't it like incredibly expensive?
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
Yeah.
Hence the word nearly. I thought about making my own as well, and then I was like, oh no, I can't be asked.
Oh my god, I'd love to make my own because it looked like such a pile of crap. It would actually be hilarious.
Maybe if I bought one of those, I could use it to motivate myself to make my own.
It's like you'd have to.
And then I could return that one once I built it.
Return it as unwanted because you've already made your own knockoff.
Yeah.
and have started selling them for a lower price on.
Or maybe I
eBay.
could return mine and then say complain about the quality control. So my bag, like, I ordered this and I got this pile of crap in the mail instead. Literally just like, I don't know, like just buy some like reclaimed wood and then just like glue a load of random LEDs to it and then just ship it back.
I didn't even think you use LEDs. Do you remember when you were at physics class at school and they had the like small incandescent bulbs you used to use when you were learning about circuits?
I literally I'll go to the local tip and I'll just buy a load of used light bulbs and I'll literally just squirt an entire bottle of super glue on top of the wood and then just throw the light bulbs on it and then there we go, job done.
Yeah, but like, look, what the hell?
Yeah,
I ordered this like nice looking item and I got this.
What do you call this? Simone, so-called. Yes.
Yeah, and then you just keep the nice one.
This is even more jank than Truckler.
I would actually really like to have a go at making one of those myself because I feel like it would look so funny.
Yeah.
With how bad it was.
I don't know. I think you could pull it off. You just need a nice piece of like mahogany or something.
I don't have that kind of money. I have to buy like chipboard from B&Q.
No, you could buy like reclaimed though, can't you?
Isn't that really expensive still?
No, not necessarily. It depends where you go. No, it doesn't have to be mahogany, but you just DIY perks it. You buy a fairly cheap piece of wood, but then just like, you know, put a load of oil on it and stuff.
I'll just buy a load of old pallets, shall I?
Bring out the. I mean, you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, buy a load of old pallets, make it out of them, and some I don't know.
Yeah, just sand them down a bit, oil them up.
People don't like those fluorescent energy-saving light bulbs, do they?
No.
So I'll buy 365 of those.
Fucking hell, how big is this thing going to be?
Well, it's made of pallets, so it's, you know.
Oh, right, okay, I didn't realise you were going to use the entire pallet. I assumed you were going to cut it up into a more... I was going to say reasonable, but I realised I was about to misspeak there.
It's easier that way, isn't it?
Boring size.
It's easier that way. Just use one or two pallets.
Yeah, and then you don't have to risk like cutting yourself when you're sawing stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're trying to saw the pallet up on your lab.
How many plugs do you think that'd need to run 100 of those light bulbs, or 365 of those light bulbs?
365. Jesus.
How many? I think it had one light per day, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, how many plugs do you think that'd take?
I don't know. I don't know what the wattage is on those.
Let's call it one. No, it's two.
It's like the wattage is probably like what, 15 watts?
They're not very much.
So hang on, let's do some maths here. Hang on, it's not my strong.
Whatever, just like two plugs, and then you mount the pallets on your wall.
What would it be? 15 divided by 240.
And then I'm thinking you get like
times
what's the like worst light bulb?
You'd need 22.8125 amps.
So you'd need, what's that, like two plugs, right? Two 13 amp plugs, 26 amps.
Yeah, assuming. Yeah, I guess I'm not an electrician. Don't try this at home, kids.
Yeah, two plugs. And then some like one of those bathroom pull cord light switches for every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, what? Okay, so this is going to look horrific.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, it looks like an absolute pile of garbage.
Would you have to just pull on each individual cord until you figured out?
Yeah, there's 365 cords as well.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And then you write on in pen on the palette what day it is.
Yeah.
I think that would quite possibly.
I'm sorry for the silence there. I'm just picturing what this would look like.
I think that would quite possibly be the most ugly thing ever created, quite possibly, right?
No, I don't think so.
Do you not?
No.
I think non-matching palettes.
I think it'd be a contemporary art piece.
What, like if I wrote some stuff about it?
There's definitely cars that have been made that would be uglier than that. Like,
Yeah,
what's that Suzuki thing? I keep saying, you know, the Suzuki thing that the wheelbase, the width of the wheelbase is wider than the car.
I don't know which Suzuki one you mean. All I can think of is the Chrysler PT Cruiser.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, this is even worse than the Chrysler PT Cruiser.
Or the Fiat Multipla.
Oh god,
the first one.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'd be more attractive than that.
I don't know. It's going to be pretty bad. And like probably electrically unsafe, which I imagine would take some of the aesthetics away from it.
You never know. It could double as a fireplace.
Yeah. It will be a mercy if anything.
Yeah.
You no longer own it.
Yeah, once you get to a certain point, you can. Why did you fail to meet your New Year's resolutions? Well,
my
way of
burnt
tracking it burnt to a crisp, and I took that as a sign.
took my house with it.
Burnt my house down.
Yeah.
I think I was better off without it.
A dangerous electrical fire. You say that. Someone at my work actually
recently had their house burnt down, and it's quite a tragic accident relating to a dodgy electrical wiring that was done by yours truly.
Yes, we actually made them a lamp for their bedside table. Funny story that.
And it set their bed on fire. They never woke up again.
Oh no, no, it's nothing like that. That's not. Don't look that up. No, it's not true. No, so they said they'd heard about this travel hack, right? And tell me if this sounds like safe or not to you. So the travel hack was that you to save, which again didn't make any sense to me, but to save taking loads of travel adapters with you when you go abroad.
Yeah.
So like instead of having to take like 5 EU adapters with you, which I've never done, I've always taken one, whatever.
Yeah, you just take one and an extension lead, don't you?
Well, that's the thing, yeah. But I was like, is that safe?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be?
I don't know. It just felt like, I don't know. It felt a bit sketchy, like putting, because you're not supposed to like daisy chain extension leads, are you?
Well, there's a reason for that. But carry on. I'll explain.
Well, that's the story. He said that, and I just thought.
Well, what? You just take an extension lead?
You just take an extension, like a multi-extension lead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no. As long as the adapter is rated for 13 amps, it's not a problem.
Oh, then it's fine. It's just like a UK plug.
Yeah, because the whole daisy chaining, basically, the whole daisy chaining thing. I mean, to be honest, actually, in the UK, I'm not an electrician. Seek professional advice and all that. But basically, in the UK, it's not really an issue because there are actually safety mechanisms in place that mean before it became an electrical fire, if the extension lead is made properly and has an appropriate fuse fitted, like the correct fuse, the fuse should blow before a fire started.
So what you're saying is that if my thing needs like, my janky thing needs like 5 or 10 plugs, you just daisy chain all those.
Well, in theory, that's not a problem as long as you're not exceeding the rated ampage of any of the extension leads.
What if you are?
Well, if you are, then it's a problem. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's when it becomes a fire hazard.
Oh, okay. So yeah, don't.
Yeah, but in theory, if you've got a 13 amp thing, like extension lead, with 4 sockets, and you plug. You fill 3 of those sockets with something that each individually at their maximum draw is 1 amp. Yeah. And then you plug another extension lead into it and fill another 4-way extension lead that also only has each thing plugged in, its maximum draw capability is 1 amp. Then you're only drawing 7 amps, and the extension lead is rated for 13 amps on any individual, like over across those sockets, 13 amps. And each of those sockets should individually be able to handle 13 amps. Not so you'd be drawing collectively, what would that be, like 26 times 2, that's 52 amps. But like in theory you should be able to draw 13 amps from any one of those sockets individually at one time. So you're only drawing 7 amps through the entire extension lead, so it's not dangerous.
Oh, so I can just make this contraption then, and it won't burn my house down to the ground.
Well, no, it would, because in your case, it would be drawing more ampage than the extension lead is designed to do.
Oh, okay, so maybe a little bit of fire, but not too much.
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. So
yeah, but like I say, as long as it's fitted with an appropriate fuse, as long as it's like the extension lead's not actually rated for 5 amps and you've got a 13 amp fuse in it, the fuse should blow before it catches fire.
Well, that's a relief. So
that's the whole point of the fuse being there.
So speaking of these jank electrical projects, you had a jank old person. How about that for a segue? You had a jank old person tech idea.
I had another segue to one of the other topics that I thought of earlier, but yeah, sure, let's go with this one.
Yeah, you had a jank old person tech idea.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about this a little bit, on like 50-50 on whether or not I should talk about it on the podcast. Because of like whether I actually decided to make it, but then I decided, because I haven't yet purchased Simone Yates' motivational calendar thingy, and I don't want to burn my house down, that I'm not going to make it myself. So as a product or a viable product, but basically, this idea was born. I'm also not going to do it as a jank project because the ship's kind of sailed, and I really wish I'd had this idea like two years ago.
Oh right, okay. What was it?
So basically, well, I'm going to tell a story that might pull on your wee heartstrings a little bit.
Oh no!
Sorry.
Go on.
It's all right. It doesn't involve death yet.
I think I know what it's going to be.
Yeah. So basically, my grandfather, he is old. He's like over 80. And there is like the ship has well since sailed on ever there being a hope of him learning how to use a computer or like any kind of modern technology to access the internet.
Yeah.
But the thing that we kind of I have a connection with him over is our kind of collective love of aerospace engineering. Because he used to work in aerospace engineering. I find it fascinating.
That's
so
really cool.
We've kind of we weren't very close when I was growing up because of like how far away he lives. But in recent years, we've kind of bonded over kind of geeking out about rockets and stuff. And whenever I go and see him, and I've kind of like when I go down, I usually like I put together like a little YouTube playlist of like rocket launches and stuff. Like if there's been like
really sweet.
SpaceX have like done a test with the Starship. Or anything, or like there's been any other noteworthy launches and stuff, I kind of put a playlist together and then I show him the launches and talk to him about them and stuff. And I've kind of like always thought I like since I've been doing that, it'd be really cool if I could like watch the things live, these launches live with him. But obviously it's just completely impractical because he lives like like over 100 miles away from me, and these things
it's YouTube live, right?
Yeah, and it's like. Yeah, exactly, and he doesn't have a computer. I can't like just hop on a WhatsApp call with him or something. He's just not, he's not got that technical capability. So, and I had this brainwave the other day. I was like, well, what if I could just control the computer and kind of like, or like have a way of kind of just putting something on his TV without him having to do anything.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So this is the jank idea I had. So there's a few different parts to it. So basically the first part would be getting some old laptop or something that's it wouldn't even need to be running Windows. It could it just needs to be able to run a Linux distro in TeamViewer, and then I'd have I'd probably just like pay for a mobile data sim with like 50 gig or something, and get a cheap mobile router you can get for like 30 quid off like
very inexpensive
CEX secondhand. I know because I've got one, and just set that up in his room in the care home, and like set it on an auto reboot schedule and stuff. I can remote onto it, have it connected to his TV, and then find somewhere. There's got to be a piece of software out there, right? Because you know how you can get those IR repeaters for remote controls on TVs and stuff.
Oh yeah, to like extend the range, or like you can control like one. Yeah.
I was thinking like there's got to be a way of janking together, so I could have a receiver attached to my computer and have a universal remote or the same remote he's got, or some way of emulating a remote on my computer that then sends that to an IR, like a USB IR blaster that's connected to that laptop. So I could turn on his TV. I'd have a webcam pointing at it, so I can set it to the right HDMI port, so it mirrors the laptop. And then I can start a Discord call or whatever on the laptop, so I can see him and speak to him, and then put a YouTube stream up on his TV, and
That's actually really clever. Like, I don't see any reason why that wouldn't like work. So you might have to do a bit of work on the like IR.
Yeah,
side
the
of it
IR
to, like,
blaster bit, right? Yeah, that's the only bit that I would couldn't literally do right now.
Yeah, right. But I'm sure there must be a thing that can, maybe if you you might have to like point the remote at the IR blaster when you're doing the original setup and go like push a button and then tell it to repeat it. Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's genuinely like that's really clever. It sounds like a more clever. In fact, it looks like there's such a thing as like IR, like USB universal remotes.
Yeah.
So they plug into like the USB port, but then they can send out like they work as like a universal remote.
Holy shit! Yeah, so that would even work then, because I could literally, because I'd be remoted onto that computer anyway, so I could just
and you could just like whether the software would run on Linux, I'm not sure, but like
I could just run a totally licensed copy of Windows on the laptop.
Now careful, because they're quite expensive, but yeah, like
yes,
that's really clever.
God, it really is a shame that that you have to pay £120 or £100 for a Windows 11 home license, and it totally doesn't just let you run it without even licensing it
indefinitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be like that's genius actually.
Wow.
I don't even know if that's janky, because like apart from
it is pretty jank.
It's pretty janky.
I'd say the entire. It's not a very like. You couldn't like package it up and sell it to someone.
I mean, you could, because it's like it sounds like a bit more of an elegant version of the like Facebook porthole or whatever it was called.
Facebook glory hole or whatever.
It was Facebook portal, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking like the other thing. Like, my initial thought was like, oh, I wonder like I could just have a router and like set up a VPN connection on it. So I wonder whether like Google Chromecast would work over a VPN or something, so I could just cast to his TV from my own phone while I was here, or something like that. That was my first, but I feel like that would be. But that got me thinking like, this is why I was like, like this could be like a niche. Like, what if someone either they build it into like the Chromecast, Apple TV, or whatever? I feel like it'd be a really cool feature to be able to cast remotely, if that makes sense. So you could like specifically for old people, say your grandparents or something. If you're not able to see them very often, but you want to be able to like share things with them, like whether even it could even just be like a home video or photos or something. They're not very technical. Just have like an Apple TV that's hooked up to their TV, and just tell they presumably know how to switch between their VCR and DVD player and whatever. But
I feel like it's one of those things that they could never do, because like you're opening up a massive security vulnerability there, right?
I don't know that you are though, because like,
well, if they had it built in, because
exactly, it's built in, and it's just like if it's just something like, because there's already like family sharing and stuff like that. Like you can have accounts that are all like grouped in a family, like Microsoft does it, Apple does it, all of those things, and there's certain things that get shared across those.
I just feel like it's the kind of thing where someone would abuse it and then they'd have to get rid of it. But like for a one-off project like that, I feel like the IR method is actually pretty clever because it's such a low range technology.
I mean, how would someone abuse it though? If it's literally if you have to be signed into the account to cast to it.
Oh, as in it requires sign-in. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the VPN. I'm literally talking about like what if Apple or someone. So literally, they have an Apple TV plugged into there, and you can basically go on your phone. You can go along with your like AirPlay options, or if you're on an Android, your casting options. It just say like cast to Nana and Grandpa's TV.
I feel like they would screw it up like big tech because they'd require everyone to have accounts. Because that's what went wrong with the.
But that's not even that much of a problem. Like you just create your grandparents' account.
That's true.
And just sign in on that device, and then all they have to do is just literally just click. Like it'll come up with a prompt saying, "Ethan's trying to show something on this TV. Do you want to watch it?" And then you can just go yes, no.
It's pretty clever,
like,
honestly.
But I feel like why isn't that a thing?
That's the thing. Cause what was the thing with the Facebook porthole? What is it? You have to they all have to have Facebook accounts, and then
well, the Facebook portal was just it was a shit tablet stuck to a wall.
It was like it reminded me of the old digital photo frames. You remember when those used to be a thing?
Oh god, it's like my housemate has an Alexa Show or Echo Show or whatever they're called. It's the most.
What were they? Are they like long dead?
No. They're still. It's like the whole. It's an Alexa. An Echo. Apologies, no one who's listening.
It's an Amazon.
It's an Amazon Echo, but it's got a screen on it. And as far as I can tell, the functionality of the screen is to constantly bombard you with advertising for Amazon.
That's the thing, right? Because they subsidize the cost of them with ads.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically it will keep coming up with like one of the most common things it will show. Like occasionally it will show like a memory of like a photo, which is kind of like I don't know. I kind of think like to my housemate sometimes like, why have you got this in a kitchen, a shared kitchen when it's occasionally it like comes up with photos where I'm kind of like, oh, well, I feel like I didn't really need to see that. Not that kind of photo, but more like kind of like there's this one that keeps coming up that's like clearly some kind of financial document or something that keeps coming up, and then
could it not exclude those? Because I've got
and then it comes up with to-do lists as well, or like shopping lists occasionally. And there was an item on a shopping list the other day that I saw that it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to think any less of this person, but it's kind of like I don't need to see that.
Yeah, some things you prefer not to be reminded of.
Yeah.
When you're in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Like certain things put you off your dinner.
Yeah.
But then the other thing it comes up with constantly is like popular ALXA or
Amazon.
Amazon Assistant questions that you can ask. And like the one that I saw the other day when I was in there, I'm like, there's no way that this is actually like I feel it's like borderline a scam. Or maybe not. I don't know. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say not even borderline. It's just a scam. I'm pretty confident this is not a popular question. It's just bullshit marketing, and they should not be allowed.
Prime Day.
It was, yeah. It was like popular question. Amazon Assistant. When is Prime Day? It's like
like Amazon Assistant. Why is Prime Day so wonderful?
Yeah. Why is
Amazon
Jeff
Assistant.
Bezos knocking down a bridge so that his super yacht that he insisted on being built on the wrong side can get through? Not a crime against humanity.
Amazon Assistant. Why is Prime Day more important to me than my birthday?
Amazon Assistant. Why are relationships only worth it if you can buy them stuff on Prime?
Yeah, it's that's ridiculous. That's got to be fake.
Yeah,
or not sure fake, but like.
But even the other it's just totally pointless.
Yeah, I don't really see the point of the screen. Have they ever used the screen for anything of value?
Like that's the thing. Like it's got Spotify integration, which I was like, okay, this is cool. This will get maybe this like makes the smart speaker actually useful, because like one of my pet peeves with smart assistants. I mean, this isn't even exclusive to smart speakers. Just like any like Google Assistant on your phone or oh no, I can't even say the S word anymore for the Apple one because my
Siri.
I just updated to the iPad OS 17 beta, so I could experience being able to run more than one timer at the same time on an iPad. because that's a feature that's
Cyber
only
experience degraded battery life.
That's a feature that's only just been innovated into iPadOS 17 and iOS 17, even though it's been on Android forever. But anyway, that's besides the point. Now you don't have to say "hey" before the S word.
You just go Sirai.
Yeah.
Is that really an innovation, or is that just...
you can turn it off, but... So now you can be more demanding. You don't just have to say hello, you're just like...
I feel a bit rude.
S word.
I feel a bit rude, to be honest, if I was like, Sirai, why is Amazon Prime Day so shit?
I guess it's more, I don't know. Oh, shit. Talking of shit. I just knocked my rum over my keyboard in my haste to go and...
You were too passionate.
Oh my god! And now my computer's reading the entire document to us for some reason.
I'm sure that's...
Hang on. Should we ask the S word? Hang on. Let's just bear with me a second. Siri, why is Amazon Prime Day a pointless pile of crap?
Okay, I've found this on the web for why is Amazon Prime a pointless pile of crap. Check it out.
I got it right.
Check it out. And then in classic Siri form, it doesn't actually read you anything. It just comes up with a list of suggestions.
To be fair, that's actually I quite like that, because when you ask Amazon a question, and it's like, here's something I found on the web, and then it's like, Wikipedia defines pointless question as the following, and then it's like, Amazon, stop, that wasn't what I wanted, no.
Yeah. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, anyway, the all of those assistants are pretty useless when it comes to... Well, in general, I think. But when you ever have that experience... Like, I mean, this is what unsold me on smart speakers. Is, like, trying to get them to play anything other than... Like, it's not even, like, what's the top hit. But, like, there's so many songs that they outright refuse to play. Like, you'll say the name of the song and the name of the artist, and it'll say it can't find it. Yeah? On the streaming service. It'll read it back to you exactly correctly. And then you tell it to play the album that's on, and tell it to keep skipping until it plays that song, and it plays the song. So it clearly can find it, but for whatever fucking reason, where it drives me nuts. It
struggles with the lookup. It is annoying.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well maybe having a screen will get round that, but no. For no apparent reason, the only screen available for Spotify on this fucking piece of useless spying on you, advertising at you piece of garbage is it can only show now playing.
Oh.
That's it. And you can play, pause, skip on the screen. That is it.
Oh, you can't I was going to say it's an interactive screen, so it is, but it's basically...
Yeah, it's a touch screen.
But it doesn't need to be. It could just have like 3 buttons beneath it for like play, pause, and skip.
Well, you can do presumably in other apps you can, but when you're streaming music or whatever, you can't search for a song manually on the screen. Why? Why the fuck not?
Because the voice assistant's so good. That's why you don't need to. You just interact with it by speaking.
What is the point in it having a screen?
It's so when you're advertised to, it can be a richer and more fulfilling experience in your life.
You know what it is useful for, this speaker? Yeah? It's useful because you can also connect your phone to it by Bluetooth. But cool. That's actually not useful, because in order to get to the point where you can use it as a Bluetooth speaker, you have to sign into an Amazon account, which you can't do on the device. You have to fucking do it from your phone in the first place, and then it has to be signed into that, and you have to have an Amazon account and all that shit just to be able to connect your phone via Bluetooth. It's like,
I thought that it was going to be something like
Bluetooth speaker.
I thought it was going to be something like you had to read your MAC address to the speaker using just voice commands, and then it would get like one of the letters wrong, and you'd have to try and correct it with voice commands only.
If anyone who doesn't have a smart home, any kind of smart home appliance other than the speaker, like lights or something, uses them for actually uses them for anything useful, not as a gimmick, other than setting timers,
I was going to say setting timers is actually genuinely useful.
Yeah, but do you know what else can have a timer on it in the kitchen? Your fucking oven.
Yeah, but it's like it's setting timers hands-free. I will give it that. That is really handy.
Yeah, that is it. And you know what? I usually, if I'm cooking, I have my iPad there anyway, and I can just say, Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes.
I think they are useful too for like you're getting
Siri,
ready to go out.
stop timer.
And you can ask it for the weather.
Again, I can do that with my iPad.
You can do it with your phone, but like it's
I don't understand having a whole separate device. It's not useful enough to have a separate device other than your phone. I don't get it.
I'm trying to think what else you use them for. But they're not like terrible.
They're pointless.
They have like, especially, I hate to say it, but especially the Amazon one, it's cheap enough where it's like you get enough utility out of just having it that.
Do you though?
I don't have one. But...
I had one and it drove me so mad. I gave it to my brother for free. Like I actually was like, it would actually have been quicker for me to wash my hands and then pull my phone out my pocket and do what I just asked the speaker to do manually on my phone.
Yeah, that's not
because
really
it's
save, is it?
so inconsistent. Actually being able to accurately do what you're asking it to do, it might as well not exist.
I've never had problems setting timers, to be fair.
Not with timers, but I'm more thinking like the other utility, like asking it, like the two use cases for it in my mind: setting a timer, like in the kitchen, setting a timer, and getting it to play music or a podcast for you.
Oh, so if you tried to ask it to play the Scrambled Checksum, could it?
I mean, it could, because it's available on...
It's on Amazon Podcasts.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Could it, though? Would it understand? Maybe that's why we don't... Maybe that's why our view count's so low.
Siri,
Because...
play the Scrambled Checksum podcast.
Now playing Ball Drop, featuring French Montana by Fab.
I rest my case. Useless.
What
Fucking useless.
You asked for the Scrambled Checksum podcast. And
How was that even remotely close to what I asked for?
Ball drop? What
Yeah.
on earth is that?
How is that even remotely close to what I said?
I'm guessing it's scrambled. And then ball check. I don't know. That's... Who is it by? What's his name? Gambino?
I don't even know.
That song sounded like a time.
Yeah.
A bad time.
It did sound like a time.
A painful time. That song sounded like
An
you'd listen
eardrum
to it
bursting.
that didn't sound like a good song, to be honest. Ball drop.
Oh, God.
Maybe that's where we're going wrong with. Maybe it's with our titles.
They're just... Oh, God. The useless... How do we even get onto this topic? Oh, yeah, we were talking about the Facebook portal.
Yeah, the Facebook portal, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's...
Is that still being made, or is that discontinued?
I feel like it got discontinued.
It must have, right? Like, who would have... I didn't really understand the point of it, because it's like... What are you supposed to do? Set up your elderly relatives with a Facebook account?
I think so, yeah.
And then what? You like...
Oh, no, it's still a thing.
But what's the point of it?
It's called Meta Portal now. Oh, of course.
Oh... So you can't even see a picture of your relatives.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing it. Yeah, I remember seeing an advert for this. I saw this advert all the fucking time. Like it can run Teams and stuff now as well. And it's like a... It's like...
Teams?
Yeah. And Zoom and stuff.
Teams? Who in their right mind?
And it's like, why use your laptop for a call when working from home when you could have an entire separate device that can only do that call
that has to sit like
next to it? Like, why have a second monitor when you could have an entire second device that you can't then share your screen from? And
Teams.
Why have convenience when you could have a pointless additional device and make it harder for yourself?
Who on earth is sat on there like a business? Because it's like for business use, right? So like, who on earth is at work and like, oh, you know what? Instead of turning on my laptop, maybe you know who it's for? It's for the people who quote unquote work from home. But they're like, they don't actually do anything. They're like sit in the hot tub all day or whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, my webcam's having some issues at the minute, but I'm joining on Teams. Oh yeah, I can't screen share because my laptop's broken.
It's not even for that though, because it has a camera.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
So
the
it's
entire thing.
completely-
Like that's its entire pitch. It's like for video conferencing.
So it's like what? You're just having a video conference where you're just sitting there.
It's literally a screen glued to a speaker with a camera on top of it.
I don't really see the use for that for video conferencing, because like, when have you ever been to like a meeting where you've had to like be on a Teams call, but then not had to either write anything down or share your screen or have your laptop?
You know, a smart home display that I do actually think is kind of cool.
Which one?
The new Google tablet. Is it called the Pixel tablet or whatever it's called? That new one that came out.
I know nothing about that. What's it for?
So it's just like it's an Android tablet, yeah. Just a regular, like, vanilla, pretty average tablet, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's cheaper than an iPad, but it's perfectly adequate for doing what most people do with tablets, which is a bit of online shopping, watching online content and entertainment, you know, browsing.
So it runs
Facebook.
like Chrome OS.
No, it runs Android.
Oh, okay.
It's an Android tablet.
Oh,
and
yeah,
a pretty
of course,
decent one. But it comes with a dock that is like, and you put it on that dock, and then it just becomes like a Google, whatever the Nest Hub show or whatever the fuck it's called.
That's pretty cool.
And it becomes a smart home display. That I can get behind, because you can actually use it as a tablet, and then it has like another function when it's on the side. It can like show the weather, show you like news headlines or whatever, or like your shopping list or something, or like that makes sense. Having an entire separate device that is just a piece of pointless, like, I don't know. Just
I think we go back to having separate devices for everything. So like, instead of having like a laptop with a built-in webcam, why bother with all that inconvenience? Let's have a separate keyboard. In fact, it's just like a desktop, right? You have a separate keyboard, because like, why build that into the laptop? And then like a separate like entire home camera system, like a kind of Ring doorbell type system.
you have a screen in every room, and a camera in every room, and a microphone in every room.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, screen, camera, microphone, and they're all internet connected.
Yeah.
They're
Over
all
dial-up.
They're all from separate big tech companies too, so you cover them all.
Yeah. Facebook, Meta,
Netflix,
Microsoft,
Apple, Amazon.
Yeah, all of them.
Yes, you're like, oh, in the kitchen we have the Microsoft one, because it learns our cooking habits and suggests us recipes on Bing.
Yay!
Yeah, but in the bathroom, I have the Amazon one, so that when I'm sitting on the toilet, I can purchase more products that I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Great. Because I totally trust a voice assistant to order the right fucking thing.
Yeah, and like, it's got a camera too, so it's looking at you.
Yeah. Like, I can tell from your facial expression that you need you need a laxative.
Yeah,
I've ordered.
I can tell that you
Yeah, can you imagine if you had a camera, it like sees you straining on the toilet, and then it just automatically orders laxatives on Amazon for you?
That would be quite. I was going to ask actually what would be like our janky version of these like smart home devices, but that might be it.
Yeah.
That's like one that watches you.
Yeah. The irony is, like, I mean, hopefully by the time the laxatives arrive, you're not still sat on the toilet straining. I mean, that you probably imploded or like exploded at that point, or like ruptured some vital organ at that point, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if it arrives like
Maybe that's the jank, that by the time it arrives, you're already dead.
Or maybe the jank is that like, the jank is that the camera doesn't actually work properly, so it misdetects most people and then like just orders them hundreds of these laxatives, but there's no way to cancel it.
Maybe just for safe measures, it has a fail safe where if it fails,
It orders them anyway.
it just always orders them.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah.
And there's no screen to cancel.
Because do you know what? Do you know what's worse than having your bank account drained by a pointless faux intelligent smart speaker? It's not having laxatives when you need them. That's
Exactly.
That is,
it could do it for everything.
that is
like
peak hell.
Like, you remember those buttons that Amazon used to make?
You'll never be constipated again. Yeah. Oh yeah. What were they, like, tiles or
Dash.
something?
Dash buttons.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Where you could
And
press
you
it and
could
it
press them
automatically orders.
I think they had fail safes in, so you couldn't just like press it again and again and again. But like, we'd have those, but they wouldn't have the fail safes, and no way to cancel.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like this is why I think this is why all smart home speakers are shit. And it's because each of them, the only reason it exists is as a gateway to some subscription service. Like, it's not actually designed to be useful.
What one's Google's a subscription gateway to?
I don't know. I guess they've got like the Nest ecosystem, haven't they?
They do, but I don't feel like it advertises you. Like, if you've got a Google Home,
okay,
like, that doesn't
not.
advertise stuff to you. What's theirs a gateway to? Because it can't be Google Ads, because, again, voice assistant, I don't think they read out ads. Maybe they do, and I could be wrong, but, like, what's that a gateway to?
Okay, fair. Maybe not. Maybe
like,
the Amazon one definitely is.
Yeah, what's the Apple one a gateway to as well? Like, just
disappointment.
Just Apple's ecosystem. Like, oh, it's like,
yeah, that
you need.
Sari is pretty weak sauce.
Yes, Sari is the worst, I think.
Yeah.
Is Sari worse than Bixby?
No. But Bixby, when I say Sari's the worst, I don't even acknowledge that Bixby exists.
Oh no, poor Bixby.
I mean, because it is just a joke. I mean, I don't think anybody actually uses it.
Bixby has...
The only person who uses Bixby is your grandma, who you bought a Samsung phone for, who continuously accidentally triggers it and has no idea what's going on. And then it searches something up when she's just talking to Mildred. And then she
to be fair, that's my experience with Google's Assistant. It's like the amount of times it'll just trigger, and then because I've got two Android phones that are usually in close proximity to each other, they both trigger.
Yeah. You know, the only time Google Assistant ever triggers on my phone is when I don't want it to. Whenever I try to actually use it, it never works. Ever.
I tried to use it the other day because I was feeling clever, and I was like, I was driving and I had Google Maps running on my sat nav, and I was like, I know, I need to add something to my reminders. It was really simple. I was like, all I need to do is go, hello, Goggle.
Yeah.
Add this to my reminders, and it couldn't even open the goddamn app.
Yeah. You see, mine's even worse. Mine will trigger randomly. I think this is why it never triggers any. I think I turned it off because it would literally, like, I'd be listening to the radio.
You're like, God.
I'd be listening to the radio or something, or listening to a podcast, and someone in the podcast would say something that wasn't even remotely like, "Okay, Gaggle," or "Hey, Gaggle," and it would just trigger it. So it'd constantly just pause, or like it would open an app over the top of the maps while I'm trying to navigate, like cruising down the M1 at 70 miles an hour. This is like, what the actual fuck? Like, this is so stupid.
The worst part is that you've then turned it off. But I love the idea of you being like, God, my friggin' G-Man assistant's a pile of crap. I say it constantly and it never opens. You're like, oh wait.
That is literally until just now, and I just remembered that I turned it off.
I've
had that so many times when I'm in the car where I'm just trying to get it to trigger and it won't do it.
I mean, to be fair, as amazing as it is and as wonderful as the tech is, Google Maps interface has got some problems, hasn't it? Like, I love the one where it's like it'll suggest you alternative routes that are like half an hour slower. So you'll like be driving along and you'll see like an alternate route pop up on Google Maps, and it's like 29 minutes slower, and I'm like, who in their right mind is gonna?
It's the scenic route.
Who's gonna select that? Or the one that really grinds my gears is the congestion ahead one.
Oh yeah.
Because it offers you no solution.
It's like the ones where it's like there's congestion ahead. You're still on the fastest route. Like basically, you're gonna be late.
I'd rather not know.
Good luck. Fuck you later. I wish you could turn off those. The one that really bugs me is the one that like it like pops up and it covers up like your. So sometimes it covers up. It'll pop up when it's just about to give you the next route instruction or something, and then it stops you being able to see the next route instruction. And it's like, there was a speed camera reported here. Is it still there?
Oh yeah, and it's like how am I?
Okay, there's so many things wrong with this. One, it's illegal for speed cameras locations to be shown on maps in the UK, yet somehow Google has got away with it for years now. And two, it's a distraction to the driver, because you have to literally tap yes or no. Like, so it's actively asking the driver to interact with their phone while they're driving along the road, which is also illegal.
To improve their data.
Yeah, and you can't turn it off.
To be fair, I'm not going to hate on them for telling me about speed cameras. I
am. I'm one of those. I personally am an anti-speeder. I'm sorry.
No.
I am one of those people.
Oh no, you're like, if you were going 31, you should be shot.
No, I don't know 31, but like if you're doing 90 in a 70, you deserve a ticket. If you're doing 80 in a 70, you deserve a ticket.
What if you're doing 34 in a 30?
Then maybe
at 2 a.m.
You still shouldn't really be doing it, but a fine is a bit harsh.
Oh, if you're doing 35 in my 30 zone.
If you're doing 40 in a 30 under any circumstances, no.
That's fair, but I feel like if you're doing like, so here's my scenario for speed camera apologist Ethan. If you're on a 60 road, right, and it comes straight down to a 30.
Yeah.
And as you cross over, like the 30 sign is to your right, and there's a speed camera or like a mobile speed trap waiting, hidden away.
So they're not actually allowed to do that.
I have seen them do that.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they're not allowed to do that. So that's scummy.
Yeah, like, or you're coming from a 40 down to a 30 and they're waiting at the threshold where it goes to 30.
Yeah, but if they're detecting that you're going over 30 outside of the 30 zone, you can contest that.
No. This is more like they're waiting for you to like slow down to go through the 30. But if you don't hit the 30 exactly where the sign is, they'll.
I think that's like one of those things though. That's a minority of scenarios. I think if you actually look at how many people are caught speeding, I bet barely any of them are caught in that kind of janky sort of not really very ethically questionable scenario. I doubt many people are caught in that.
How about the scenario where I was caught doing 34 in a 30 as it came from a 50 down to a 30 by someone stood in their garden with it was like a volunteer one. It might not have been a volunteer one, it might have been like a policeman, but someone stood with like the radar thing.
Yeah.
It was also during COVID, so the roads were empty.
Shouldn't matter. The law's the law.
Oh, but no one would get hurt.
Well, wait. Arguably, though, you need to have your wits about you more if you think it's quiet, because then you're not expecting someone to run out in front of you or something. So you should be even more reason to make sure you're obeying the speed limit.
But what about the scenario there was I came through a 40, was going 34. Was I endangering lives?
If you were I'd say if you were slowing down, I'd say that ethically, that's.
Should I have had to pay £100 for that?
No, I think no. If you were slowing down at the time and you just misjudged it slightly, fine. I think that's harsh.
I think, to be honest, even if I was going 34.
Yeah, but if you were going actually 34, your speedometer would have been at nearly 40.
I was going 34 as in, like, sat-nav tracked. Like, that's what their radar gun had me at, not what my speedo says.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your speedo would have said you were going faster.
Yeah, but
so
like...
in your mind, you were going more than that, which is,
I don't know. In my mind, I factor in the speedo.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I personally, like, I will agree that some speed limits are stupid, and sometimes there's speed limits that are definitely too slow. And unnecessarily
and sometimes
slow.
Breaking the law is okay.
And I'm not going to say I never speed, because occasionally I'll slip. I won't notice a speed limit sign, or there's some that are I think are stupid. Like, for example, there's an Asda near where I live, where there's quite a long road into the car park that's not car park. It's like a full proper road, and the speed limit right from the beginning of it is 10 miles an hour. That is stupid.
Like, can you believe as well, there's like a school district near me, right, where you're going past a primary school entrance and the speed limit's only 50. And it's like, come on.
Yeah, come on.
That should totally be like a 70.
It should, shouldn't it? Yeah, I mean...
That should totally be like the Autobahn in Germany.
Yeah, I mean, this is why we've got so many ungrateful children. Like, if more of them were getting hit by... hang on, I'm going to backtrack because of some recent events, actually, that happened. No, Although by the time the podcast came, but that's too soon. It's too soon. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's too soon.
But yeah, like, you know, that should clearly be a, 100 mile an hour speed limit.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway,
going back to Google's horrendous UI on Google Maps, the other thing that bugs me is, when if you do actually manage to get Gaggle Assistant to do something you want it to, say, make a phone call, why does it go out of the Google Maps app and open the phone app?
It's quite annoying.
That's so fucking annoying. What in the world? Why do if I'm Bluetoothed to my car, which it knows I am, and, like, why do I need the phone call to display on the screen? Like, I can hear it ringing. Even if I didn't have it Bluetooth to my car, I can hear it ringing. I just asked it to call someone. It said it's going to call them, and then it's ringing. And the only way to get back to the maps, other than ending the phone call, which it doesn't always go back to the map, is to physically reach over and press the button again, interacting with your phone while the car is moving to get your directions back. Why?
I think from a Google standpoint, it's unwise too, because if you, like, have a horrible car accident while you're trying to do that, then that's one less Google user.
Exactly.
That's why they're losing the war to Apple.
Because they keep murdering their... Yeah, Apple's calling emergency services sometimes when they don't even need to make sure their customers stay alive. And meanwhile, Google's actively killing their users by getting them to use their
distractions. Meanwhile, Apple Maps is kindly making their service so terrible that no one would ever use it while they're driving.
I've heard it's actually got quite good recently.
I heard it got better, and I wouldn't want to say it got good.
I saw the other day, I was behind an Apple Maps Street View, or whatever they call it.
Wow.
Car.
I've never seen one of them before. But yeah, so, like, they kindly make their service worse, so that you don't use it and don't get distracted by it.
Yeah.
And go to an alternative.
Yeah, like Google Maps for Apple.
Yeah, exactly. And then, then get more distracted.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for this week. If I'm not here next week, it's because I've been arrested for speeding based on Ethan's tip-offs that he's given the police.
Yeah.
If he's not here next week, he's been distracted by his voice assistant and flown up into a wild rage. And
swerved into a central reservation on the M1.
So hopefully we'll both be back 2 weeks on Monday on Google Podcasts. Wait, it's not even called that, is it? It's YouTube.
No. Google Podcasts is separate to YouTube. There's YouTube.
Okay, YouTube. Google Podcasts.
YouTube
Apple
Podcasts. Google Podcasts. Apple Podcasts. Spotify. Audible. Deezer. Although we're called Scrambled on Deezer because I fucked it up and there's no easy way to then go and rename it.
But we're on Deezer. That's the main thing.
We are, yeah. So listen to us on Deezer.
Yep, follow us every 2 weeks. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comments below on whether or not this podcast should continue to episode 10, 11, or whichever one we're on.
Next milestone is episode 20.
Yeah, and if we make it there, we'll see you 2 weeks on Monday.
We will make it there, Kieran, I believe.
Yeah, we'll make it there. Out of pure spite. Anyway, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay. Love you lots, Kieran's invisible tormentor from his dreams that turns out to be Kieran. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.